Hey, it's me. I'm back. It's been a while. I don't like to do these videos unless I have a reason and or something to share. And today I have something to share. I got some cards from two different decks. Lots and lots of cards. Okay, and that's just one set. I've got the other set spread out in front of me. Before I forget, I'm going to let you know the cards I used today in this are the Wheel of the Year Tarot. That's one side, and that's the back side of the box. It's a new deck, relatively new, and I love it. It's become one of my favorite decks to use. I'm also using the Spellcaster's Tarot deck. Okay, I'll read something out of this handbook, so I'm going to leave that off to the side. I've also got, and I really like this deck. I didn't use this deck for this reading, but it's called the Forest of Enchantment. And I'm a writer, and when you are a writer, you like to find things that inspire you creatively. And the handbook for this particular tarot deck really is inspiring. The writing is quite beautiful and fantastical. But I am also finding that I love the cards and love the meanings of the cards. They're very like fairyland, like wood people. There's a lot of green and mossy and blue. I mean, see how beautiful the colors are. And I'm sorry, I've got some cats fighting in the background. When you have 6 cats, that tends to happen. But I was trying to see if I could find real quickly the card that keeps popping out for me. It's a really cute card, and every time I see it, oh, there it is. How about that? I was just talking about it. This is my card in this deck. It's the Child of Visions. And this is a child that, sorry, we've got some work happening outside today. This is a kid that's been released in the woods, like just set free, and the dark woods, and it's raining. You can see some raindrops, and there's a spider web up here. And instead of being afraid, this little girl is just so excited to be out and about. And I want to make sure I didn't turn off my camera. But anyway, she's so excited to be out in the forest on her own, and she's just running around, and she's smiling. That's me. Okay, so anyway, that's a great deck. So if you're a tarot reader and you have not discovered this particular deck yet, it's a good one. I recommend that you look it up. Okay, so before I get into the cards, I did want to give a little update because I like to use these videos for educational purposes as well as to give you updates about what's happening specifically in politics with Donald Trump and his administration. Some of you have watched my video. You know I've been going through a very fast-paced spiritual ascension. And about 2 or 3 weeks ago, I had a really good reading with a gal who lives in Canada, and she does energy work and energy healing, and she's extremely gifted and talented. And I talked to her for about 2 hours. We just got to going in this reading, and it just seemed like it just kept uncovering more information, and it was really hard to hang up the phone for both of us because of the information coming through. But one of the things I've been trying to find out about myself is what my purpose is here and what I'm supposed to be doing. And she gave me a little information about that. She said that part of my purpose is to provide clarity and to heal not just humanity, but the earth. And I felt that all along, actually. I felt that I was supposed to be doing some sort of healing work for the earth and for people, for humans. And I'm going to do my first Reiki attunement on February 22nd. So this is kind of the next step for me with regard to my healing journey. I'm going to be learning Reiki and start doing energy healing. And I've always been told I have healing hands. People always look at me and they say, you're a healer, you got healing hands. And the closer I get to this Reiki attunement, the more my hands seem to start coming alive. The other night they were tingling a little bit, especially this one. And I lost my train of thought. Easy to do when there's so much going on around you. But my hands are also warm. I never seem to have cold hands, and I guess that's a sign of energy, healing energy in your hands. So I'm always very, very warm. And I mean, I don't even like to wear a winter coat, unless it's in the single digits or the teens, and then I'll put on a winter coat. But if it's just 32 degrees outside, I'll wear a sweater, and I'm fine. So anyway, so that's one thing that happened in this reading with this gal. And something else she did was she said I had an entity that I had kind of invited into my life as a child, and it was in my throat, and it was causing me to have feelings of worthlessness, that I didn't have anything of worth to say. So she removed that, and she said I had an implant in my heart, and she removed that, and that implant in my heart was feeding me a lot of lines about how I am not self-love, where I did not love myself. So that went out. And so it's interesting because when she removed the entity from my throat, for several days, I felt this discomfort in my throat, kind of different. It just felt different, and I kept wanting to cough a lot. Like there's just something different there. But that's cleared up now, so we're all good. And I've noticed that this tremendous calm has come over me. The negative self-talk has really shut down. And it's a good feeling. It's very peaceful. But one of the other things, and I want to share this before I get into the cards, one of the other things that she and I talked about was this. I don't really know how to say it. Back last summer, let's just put it this way. Back last summer, I had another reading with Melissa, Free Range Psychic. Some of you probably watch her. Really talented, and the reading was fabulous. And she's also an energy healer. And one of the things that she found around me was, at the time of my reading, was she said I had 3 demons attached to me. And she removed them. And then she taught me how to remove demons from myself in the future. And so from that point forward, I started doing that. And one of the things that I noticed happening over time was it wasn't just 1 or 2 or 3 demons that I would feel and would remove. It started becoming hundreds of demons, thousands of demons. And I don't even like to use the word demons. I prefer to call them dark energies or dark entities. And I started having some interesting ideas, or my intuition started telling me there was something else going on here. And so when I talked to this gal a couple of weeks ago, I brought this up, and I said, you know what I'm thinking? I said, I feel like these demons are coming to me because they're ready to go back to the light. They're ready to go back to God. And we'll talk about that in a minute. And they know that I can release them, so they're coming to me. And I said, is that happening? And she stopped. She said, well, let me ask my guides. And she got quiet for a minute. And then she came back and she said, my guides are telling me yes. That's what's happening. That somehow you have kind of been marked, I guess. That's not how she said it. But basically, it's like a call has gone out to all of these dark energies. And they've said, okay, when you guys are done, when your work is done and you're ready to go back to the light, here's the girl that can do it. Who can send you back. So I always can tell when they're around me. I get dizzy. I feel nauseated. I don't want to eat. I'm super tired. Headaches. It's just like this, like a flu feeling, like a very flu-ish feeling. And that's when I know it's time for me to release them. And I'll come in and I'll get my pendulum, and it's not, oh, here it is. And I'll sit down with my guides and I'll say, do I have demons I need to release at this time? And they'll say, yes, you do. And then I'll usually ask, how many did I release today? And I just did this, was it yesterday morning? And 1,700. Oh, it was between 1,700 and 1,800. I don't get an exact. I don't ask for exact. I was like, just give me an idea of how many I released. And apparently this is something that I am meant to do. And I'm planning on writing a book about it. And I don't know when yet, but it'll be fictionalized, but based on my own experiences doing this work. But I did want to say before I get into the cards, and this we'll just real quickly go through this, because I know you all want to know what I got, and it's good. But this is important. This is really important. We need to change our thinking with regard to what we see as evil. I feel like Dr. Evil. Demonic energies came from God. Some people don't want to acknowledge that, and they want to deny that, and it really upsets them when I say this, but it's true. And this is when I talked to this gal a couple of weeks ago, using her intuition and my intuition and the messages she was getting from her guides and the messages that I've gotten from my guides and the experiences that I have had. The conclusion that we came to, and that I kind of came to after the call was over, I kind of built on it a little bit more, was that these entities, demons, if you will, dark energies, dark entities, they have souls. People want to say, oh, they don't have a soul. Yes, they do. They have souls. They just chose when God birthed them, or source, or universe, or spirit, or whatever you, God source, whatever you use to refer to the guy in the sky, just be whatever that. Just use the word that you like. We're going to call it the God source for the purposes here. When the God source birthed these souls, He gave them all, you, me, them, everybody, a choice, and said, you get to choose whether you want to live in darkness or light. God wanted us to come down here and experience. And my guides, before you start asking all these philosophical questions about why does this happen? My guides have told me that our human minds cannot comprehend and understand what is happening here on a spiritual level. And that when we die, we still may not fully understand it. But it's where the faith comes in. You have to have faith and trust in this. That we all do have souls. Even people like Donald Trump has a soul. And he is a child of God. And he is doing the work that he came here to do, to awaken the human race and to help this planet ascend to a much better place. We need him. I hate to say that because there's people out there that are going to be like, oh God, no, don't say that. We need him. If he were not in there, and if Hillary had gotten elected, we'd have the same thing going on, different day. And it would have been slower. This would have gone a lot slower. So be grateful that Trump got elected, because he's fast tracking us to a much better, happier existence. Okay, so let's back to the demons. Let's rush through this. We got to get to these cards. This is really good stuff. But when God birthed our souls, he said, she said, it said, because God is all things. We are God. You are God. I am God. Trump is God. Okay. Everybody is God, and God is everybody. It's okay. He gave the choice. She gave the choice. It gave the choice to all the souls. Choose light or dark. I need both. The strongest, most courageous, most loving souls said, the ones that love God the most said, I volunteer to choose the darkness and to live this hell for you, God, so that you could experience, and so that the other people who choose the light can live and ascend and grow and experience for you. And when you think about it that way, when you really stop to think about it and go, wow, It took some really courageous, big, bald souls to say, I will live an eternity of darkness for you, God, so that you could do and experience and so that mankind could become what it was meant to become. I will do this for you. I will sacrifice for you to do this. And those souls came down as demons, as we've all called them, and they have allowed us and they have helped us through the millennia to become lighter, more loving, more compassionate, better humans. And now what's happening is we're coming to the end times. Okay, I love the air quotes today. The end times, and their job is done. The darkness is not going to be able to survive with what's coming down into our planet right now. And as this light pours in and it becomes so intense, the darkness can't survive here. And so these demonic dark entities are saying, okay, job is done. I've done what I came here to do. It's time to go home. And they need a doorway out. They need a gate. They need a portal to get sent back to the God source. And apparently that's something that I'm supposed to be doing. And I kind of joked with the gal on the phone 2 weeks ago, and I said, I guess I'm just a mop. I said, I'm just mopping them up and sweeping them out. I don't like using that, though, because it's kind of negative. It's kind of it makes it feel like I'm saying that they're garbage. These things are garbage and they're dirt, and I'm just getting rid of them. No, I'm actually releasing their dark forms and letting them and sending them back to where they're going to be rewarded for the work that they did. And God will reward even the demons. They will earn their angel wings, okay? Because they have come here and they have spent thousands upon hundreds of thousands and millions of years in this darkness, this dark hell for God. All right, you don't have to agree with me, but I know what I've been tasked to do, and I've been doing it, and I know how it feels, and I know what messages I'm getting. So this is my truth. And hopefully this allows all of you to see that even the most demonic, darkest, most evil people do have a purpose here. And that the strongest ones of us are the ones who go. Okay, I am so sorry we're going on 20 minutes in, but this is really important to share. The other thing that's really important to share is it's time for us to unify. We've got to stop being so divisive among the Democratic ranks. There I go with the air quotes. I don't know what it is about the air quotes today, but I'm seeing a lot of infighting, and we need to unify because the other side is unified in their purpose, and we need to unify in ours. And one of the ways that we can do that is, and I picked up my Lemurian crystal here. You can also, if you do crystals, if you use crystals, you can use quartz. Nice piece of rose quartz. And I want you to consider when you meditate or just when you're just sitting and doing nothing, take your quartz, place it over your heart. This came to me, this is something that somebody shared that I follow. I follow somebody who's also a very powerful light worker, and they shared this, and I'm going to pass this on. His name's Tim Wild. And he said, just take a crystal, place it over your heart, close your eyes, and take 3 deep breaths. And as you take those deep breaths, envision white light coming into your heart. And then when you exhale, imagine that light pouring through the crystal, out of your heart and through the crystal and out all the way around the world. And he said that you could do this. You could just take 3 breaths. You could do this for a minute, 10 minutes, for an entire meditation. Just every time you breathe in, envision white light just growing inside your heart. And every time you exhale, imagine that white light pouring out of your heart through your crystal and all around the planet. And that light, it will touch every living soul, every living being, every human, every animal, every plant, every tree, every fish, every bird. And it will touch every living being, and it will create an awakening, and it will help everybody rise. And my husband's coming up the stairs. He's trying to be so quiet. But anyway, just do that. And you want to touch all the people in the world, and this will help them to awaken and feel that love, and we can all unify and raise this planet. All right, cards. I'm so sorry. We're 20 minutes in. I will try to put in the comments or down below when the actual reading started, but I hope everybody watches the beginning of this because it's a lot of really important information. Okay, so last night I sat down and I felt the need to pull out some cards and do a Trump reading. And my guides did not disappoint. And I continued this morning. I did another Trump reading this morning. And again, they did not disappoint. The question that I asked was basically, what's going to happen over the next 4 months? What can we expect in the Trump world over the next 4 months? And I got 3 cards. I got the King of Wands. I thought, well, that's interesting. And I was expecting like Death card and Ten of Swords and all this. Get the King of Wands, the Queen of Swords, no, the Princess of Swords, which is kind of like the Page of Swords. If you follow tarot, you might have an idea what that card is all about. And the Strength card. I thought, wow, these look like good cards. I'm not sure I like this. And I thought, let's get into this. And here's what happened. Here's what my guides told me. The King of Wands, this is John Bolton. Okay? John Bolton has something to say, and he's going to say it sometime in the next 4 months. I just asked for a 4-month window. I also saw these people in the background. These are workers, and they're in the field, and they're gathering weeds, or they're harvesting something. But they're working behind the scenes, behind the action up here with this king. They're working back there. These are people in the Trump administration who are working to ensure evidence does not get destroyed. They're working to preserve evidence. They are working to dig up evidence. There are people in the administration, and what I was getting was that they're actually giving it to him. They're giving it to John Bolton. So he's not completely removed from the situation going on in the White House. So he has something to say. He's going to say it. And when this gets said, it's going to be a major blow to Donald Trump and his people, and his administration. Okay. The Princess of Swords is the Page of Swords in other decks. Okay, these cards came from the Wheel of the Year Tarot, by the way. So this is typically the Page of the Swords in other decks, or Page of Swords, I'm sorry. And the Page of Swords for me is usually the Spy card. It's the spy. This is somebody, see, she's got a looking glass. She is looking. She's got her sword of truth down here at her side. And she's just sitting back and she's looking. And I got that this is a man. There's a man somewhere and he's not in the cabinet. What I got was he's a man who's in a high enough position that he has access to information and evidence. And he is just sitting back and he's just watching and he's just taking it all in and he's making his notes. And when the time is right, he's going to come forward with what he has found. Okay. And it's going to be, again, it's going to be a big blow to Donald Trump. I had to look at this and just remind myself. Okay. This is the Strength card. And what I got from this card was that because of John Bolton and the spies and the people working behind the scenes, what's going to happen is there is going to be a moment. There's going to be a pivotal moment, and we'll talk about that in a minute. And when that moment hits, all of these people are going to start coming forward. This card is people being strong in their conviction. What did I get? I just want to read this. The Strength card. Yeah. Okay, sorry. This is heroism and challenge, the joy of life, action, courage, overcoming your fears. This is where people are going to step up. They're going to face their fears. They're going to face the threat of Donald Trump. And they are going to find their courage, and they are going to come forward, and they are going to speak, and they are going to strong arm. What I was picking up, what was coming to my mind was in a corner. They're going to back him, Trump, into a corner, and he's going to be strong armed into submission, because there's not going to be any way for him to overcome all of this information coming out. Okay. And there's more why a lot of this information is going to come out, which I'll get to in a sec. Then I asked, okay, so what's the final outcome? And I start shuffling my cards. I said, what's the final outcome here, and when can we expect this? And the death card flew out of the deck. I was like, well, okay. The death card flew out of the deck. And I asked, when is the Supreme Court going to rule on Donald Trump's tax returns? I've just kind of heard some talk about this. And I was like, when is this going to happen? And I asked, are they going to rule? And I think that's when this came out. Is the Supreme Court going to rule against Donald Trump, and he's going to have to reveal his taxes and release his taxes? And that's when I got the death card flying out of the deck. And then I get this card, the Chariot. And what this card said to me was, it's going to happen quickly. It's going to happen with coordination. The Chariot in this deck means, hold on a second. I like to look at the meaning sometimes, because that really kicks something in. It's in here in this deck. It's a reawakening, a heading out towards great destinations, confidence, initiative, and enthusiasm. This was a very affirmative card that the Supreme Court is going to rule against Donald Trump. They're going to rule to bring out these tax returns, that he is going to have to release them. And it's going to happen with initiative. It's going to happen with enthusiasm. It's going to happen with this reawakening, this new rebirth. And I kept focusing on the sunflower and the sunlight. The light is shining on this. Okay, and then I asked, when? When is this going to happen? And I got the Three of Swords. And I got March. Mid-March. And it's just, of all the three cards I could have dropped, the Three of Swords. In mid-March, the Supreme Court is going to break his heart. That's the Three of Swords. And then I asked, basically, when is Trump going to be removed? March. When is Pence going to be removed? March, and we'll be celebrating. Now, that's the energy I'm getting at this time. And I wanted to make sure to clarify that at this time, that's the energy. And say that 3 months ago, the energy was saying that Trump didn't even have a chance at getting reelected. Because of all the infighting that's going on in the Democratic ranks right now, between the candidates, between the constituents, Bernie supporters, I've seen some really just nasty Bernie supporters who are saying some things as if Bernie doesn't get the nomination, they're not even going to vote. It's like, we can't do this. We have to be unified. But because of all that energy that's going on right now in the Democratic ranks, when I asked yesterday, 2 days ago, what the odds are of Donald Trump even making it to the election and getting reelected, I got, there's a very slim chance now that he could get reelected. Like 1%. But it's not likely. That was the answer I got. So that's how energy can influence something. That we have to make sure that we stay in a unified energy and that we don't fall apart, because just these last few months of infighting have given him just the slimmest chance, when 3 months ago he had zero chance. Okay. And that's not white power. That's a zero chance that he had 3 months ago. And now he's got one. Not likely that he's going to even make it that far, according to these cards. But my guides are saying there is that little tiny chance. Okay. That's how important maintaining our energy is right now, which is all the more reason to get that crystal out, put it over your heart, and send that energy around the world. Okay, now we get to this nice little stack of cards. Okay, we're going to go through these quick. I did this morning. I wanted confirmation, and I just said, hey, guys, just please confirm what is going to happen with the Supreme Court. This is just a confirmation. What's going to happen with the Supreme Court ruling on his taxes? Are they going to rule against Donald Trump, and when? I was just looking for a new answer. The first card that I got was the Two of Coins. I thought, well, that's really odd. The Two of Coins. I tend to see this card and I think, unsteady ground, shaky ground. So I pulled out the handbook and I said, what does this exactly mean? This is really good. Struggling to maintain balance and stability. This is what's going to happen to Donald Trump because of the ruling that the Supreme Court is going to make against him. Struggling to maintain balance and stability. He has been, and it's also an indication of what we're going to find in his tax returns, that he has been juggling too many things at once. Okay, there's going to be an upheaval or shift in the current conditions, and we're going to see a loss of foundation and a lack of footing. Donald Trump is going to lose his footing, and he's going to lose his foundation. It's going to show that he's been living a double life, that he has been, that this has all just been chaos. His tax returns are just going to show all the chaos he's been involved in. His conflicting values, where the money has really come from. His hypocrisy. It's going to show the hypocrisy. His tax returns are going to reveal that. And the double standards. Let's see if there's anything else that came up. Two-faced. I think you're getting the idea. Deception and trickery that he has used, that he has got, that we're going to find in those tax returns. Chaotic environment, upheaval of one's sense of security. And then this was great. Having to juggle finances to make ends meet. It's going to show all of the financial juggling that he has done and the money laundering. Okay? That was the very first card out of the deck. And then Spirit just loaded me up. Said, okay, here we go. And I got the very next card was the Ten of Swords. And we all know what that means if you follow anybody who reads tarot. Ten of Swords, this is going to end him. It is going to be painful. The Justice card, it's going to bring justice. The Supreme Court, and what they told me, it was going to be a ruling of 6-1. I went through the justices that I thought might vote no, and the only one I got that would vote no was Clarence Thomas. Even Kavanaugh was going to vote yes. I'm like, what? Okay. So the justice is going to come for him, and it's going to take him out. Queen of Pentacles, this is Melania. Look how sad. She's so sad. Looking at that money as it's gone. But this is her ticket. This is her meal ticket out. Now she's got a reason. She has an excuse to leave. And she's going to take what little she has with her when she goes. The Fool. What I saw from this, what the first thing I got when I saw this card was, this is Trump literally just falling off the edge of a cliff. When these tax returns come out, it's going to be game over, and it's going to be whoosh, straight down drop. The road that's been in front of him is going to disappear, and it's going to be nothing but air. And he's just going to go down. The Five of Pentacles, this is the Out in the Cold card. Okay, Out in the Cold. This is the order the cards came out. The Death card, again, it's going to be the end of him. The Magician, it's going to show all the tricks. Again, we talked about that with the Two of Pentacles, the trickery. It's going to, all his tricks and his trickster behavior is going to be revealed. The Queen of Swords, this is my card in this deck for Letitia James in the Southern District of New York. I think you can figure out what that means. That, hello, evidence. So they're going to really like those tax returns. the High Priestess card came out. And this was, I thought for a minute that this is the secrets being revealed. And they're like, no. My guides told me no. And I said, oh, the veil is fallen. And they're like, yes, the veil has fallen. And it's not just the secrets that are going to be revealed, it's everything. Everything will be revealed. The Page of Swords, again, remember what the Princess of Swords was? Well, this is the Page of Swords, and it's the same card. Spies, the people that have been working behind the scenes, who've been digging up the evidence and saving the evidence. Look at the ginormous sword here. These people, these quote, and I don't like to use the word spies because they're not spies. They're just people inside that are just keeping their mouth closed, and they're doing their work, and they're just saving stuff. I'll keep it clean here, keep PG. They're saving everything. And when this comes out, kaboom, they're all going to come forward with that massive sword of truth. The Hanged Man. These are just really not good cards. This is Trump, Hanged Man. The Eight of Swords. In a prison of his own making. He made his bed and now he has to lie in it. He did this to himself. And he is now trapped in the cell, the prison that he created for himself. Seven of Swords. If you watch Linda G, what she says about this card is pack his shit and go. There goes the PG right out the window. He has to go. He's got to take what he can, and he's going to try to leave. And the thing that hit me when I saw this card was he's going to try to sneak out. He's going to try to get away and sneak out and like leave the country. I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to work, but I think he's going to try it. The Hermit. This is the light being shown on him and what he's done, but it's also him being left in isolation. This is going to be him with no friends left. Even as Linda G says, they'll be throwing tomatoes at him. Even the people who have been supporting him aren't going to support him anymore. The only people who will support him are the ones who are just diehard, who love his hate. And they wouldn't support anybody else anyway. Nine of Wands. It's very similar to the Eight of Swords. He's in his own prison. He's going to be trying to defend himself in a very small space, but it's just going to be him alone inside, kind of walled up inside this prison he's made for himself, and caught red-handed doing his nasty deeds. Eight of Cups. Gotta go. Eight of Cups. It's over. I have to go somewhere else now because the dream is over. The ride has finished. The ride is over. That's what I thought. That's how I felt when I saw this. The ride is over. But again, it's nighttime. And typically the Eight of Cups is going away, like walking away in search of something else. So I feel like this is, again, saying he's going to try to sneak away. And is this the last? Yes. This is the King of Pentacles. And what we're left with is not an emperor, not a dictator, not a king, not a monarch, not an autocrat, just a human being, a mortal man with all of his money exposed. I asked again, what's the time frame on this? What's the time frame? And yeah, all the threes were coming out. They were either on the bottom of the deck or they came out in the draw. They flipped out of the deck. And then I was told to pull the Three of Swords last. Three of Swords, left brokenhearted in March. Going up in flames. See that little flame? So I'm getting March. Everything happens in March. That's when it's supposed to happen. And then the last card that flew out of the deck at me, 10 of Cups. Happy, happy, happy. We're all going to be so happy. And I'm going to leave you with that. You have a lovely day. hold the light, hold the hope, hold the love. Okay? We are going to get through this, and this is going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. This is exactly what's supposed to happen to get us where we need to be as a human race, a country, and a world. I love you all. Bye-bye. Happy Saturday.